What up, my Nimians, and welcome back to NimTV. I'm your host, NimTV2299. And I know it's like a week late, but I finally saw The Last Jedi twice, actually, which is really weird, because, like, this is the first time I've ever seen a movie twice in theaters. I don't know. I don't know why I did. Actually, I know why I did, because I went to see it with my brother and and a couple of my friends the one night, and then the next day the rest of my family was going, and I was like, why not? So I saw it twice. The reason I saw it twice wasn't because I thought it was an amazing movie and I wanted to see it again. It was more just because I thought it was an interesting movie and I wanted to kind of see it again and examine the parts that worked in it and the parts that didn't work in it. And that's basically how I describe this movie the best, which is there are some things that work really well in this movie, some things that just don't work at all and fall flat. That's basically my non-spoiler portion of this review, because the rest of the review, because I don't know, there's not a lot to talk about without like getting into like major like spoiler territory. But yeah, so I would say if you're a Star Wars fan, go see it. Don't skip it or anything, just because I think there's enough good stuff in it that it's worth seeing. Just keep in mind that there are some really, really cringeworthy scenes in this movie. There's also some really great scenes, so there we go. Also another thing, it was kind of disappointing for me. One reason is because if you remember at the beginning of the year, I did a video that was top 7 most anticipated movies of 2017, and this was number 1 most anticipated movie of 2017. And it's definitely not the best movie I saw in theaters this year. You'll know that later on, because I'm going to do later on, closer to the end of the year, I'm going to do a ranking of all the movies that I saw this year, all 15 of them. I was planning on seeing 16, but I never ended up seeing Disaster Artist, but whatever. Anyways, that's going to be coming later, probably New Year's Day or something like that. I don't know, like an end of the year thing. But anyways, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about this movie. Like I said at the beginning, that's basically all I have when it comes to non-spoiler territory. So I'm going to get into some of the specific things I liked and some of the specific things I didn't like. Actually, no, okay. We're not going to get into spoiler territory yet. I don't even know if I will. I don't know. But anyways, things that I liked was basically all the stuff with like Rey, Kylo Ren, and even you know, when they were there like with Snoke, there's like this weird thing where Rey and Kylo Ren have this weird like telepathic connection in certain scenes. Those scenes are great. Like them a lot. Luke's alright in it. I enjoyed some of the stuff with him and all that, whatever. But I think where the movie falls flat is a lot of the kind of subplots that are in this that are just unneeded, and just some of it's really dumb. There are some really dumb moments in it. That's basically what I'm gonna say. So just be aware of that going in. But anyways, now I'm gonna talk about spoiler territory, I guess. So spoiler warning right now. I'm gonna spoil some big things if you haven't seen it. You know, it's one of those movies where it's difficult to talk about it without giving away big spoilers and stuff. Also, actually no, wait, before I get into spoiler territory, quick thing. If I had to give this a rank out of 10, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Initially I was like 5 out of 10, but when I saw it again I was like 6 out of 10. Just to give a basic idea of my final thoughts. But anyways, back into this. Spoilers right now, going into them. So the scene where Snoke dies is probably my favorite scene in the movie. I think that whole like weird thing where he's like controlling like Rey and like trying to pull information out of her, and then like he wants Kylo Ren to kill her, and then Kylo Ren kills him instead, and then Kylo Ren and Rey like start fighting together against the like guys in the red costumes. That like was awesome and the best moment in the movie by far. And you know, and then there's the whole thing where he's like he wants her to join him, but then she doesn't, and then the ship blows up, and that was like a great finale. Except it wasn't the finale, which was my big issue with this. One of the big issues is there's this perfect moment for the movie to like end, and you're like, yes, good finale. It already went through the big confrontation between Rey and Kylo that's been building up throughout the movie and everything. You already got that. you know, the rebels already destroyed the big Snoke's ship and everything, and they've kind of like escaped onto this planet. Good place to end it. You know, rebels escape, or resistance, not rebels, escape, end movie, done, awesome. But then it kept going and had a second climax, which, while awesome and, you know, cool, you know, it was a cool battle, it was also pointless. Like, it was like, okay, we've already seen the whole, oh, we're just a small band of rebels trying to escape the First Order, and then we just barely escape at the end, or like barely get away at the end. We've already seen that like 2 other times in this movie. You know, it opens with that, with something that's like that, and then we have that again at the end, and then it's like, and then it just goes into this extra climax that's just pointless. The only thing I would say that's good that comes out of that extra climax, first off, would be, you know, it looks cool. Like, I think the whole battle of like them going on like that weird planet where there's like all the red dust and from the crystals everywhere, that was kind of cool visually. But other than that, there's not a lot to offer from it. I mean, you also do have the moment where Luke reunites with Leia, and then you have that kind of, I liked the one moment where Luke kind of dies or whatever, where he's like there and it's like he sees the twin suns and it starts playing the like music from the original movie when he was staring at the twin suns on Tatooine, and then he like disappears. That was a good little moment, but again, it did feel kind of tacked on, like it wasn't needed for the movie. Again, 2 climaxes for no reason. You know, if you wanted to do this ground battle, maybe save that for the beginning of the next movie. Like, maybe they went onto this planet and they're like, okay, we got away from the First Order. Maybe in the next movie it starts off with that battle. I don't know. Something. I don't know. It just felt tacked on and unneeded. But that said, there are some great things in this movie. I would say my least favorite scene in the movie is probably everything to do with like the casino and everything. No, the very least favorite scene was the scene where they like Poe and what's that girl's name, Rose, like get on the freaking creature and like ride it through the casino, destroying things, and then they leave, and it's like so dumb. And then like the end of that scene is even worse, because they're like, Finn is like that was worth it, tearing up that terrible town or whatever. And then she goes, no. And then she like lets the animal go, and she's like, now it was worth it. I was like, really? Are we really going to do something this stupid? I don't know. That was dumb. Wasn't needed. It was just like extra plot. It was basically what it felt like to me was they were like, oh crap, Finn doesn't have anything to do in this movie, and he was an important character in the last movie. We need to give him something to do, or else he'll just be a pointless character thrown in here for no reason. So they're like, I know, let's create a new character, Rose, that he can go with on this weird subplot mission that's just dumb. Which, honestly, I would have liked it better if it was like Finn had gone with Poe on a mission or something. I would have liked that a little bit better, just because, like, in the first movie, you kind of do establish a good friendship between Finn and Poe, so it would have been like, I don't know, it would have just been like, oh yeah, seeing them two together again would have been nice, I guess. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. Whatever. I understand they got to pad the running time. They're like, oh, we have to make this. It felt like they were like, we have to make this 2.5 hours long. So what can we throw in here to make it 2.5 hours long? I don't know. Let's just throw random crap in here that's not needed. But I don't know. Like I said, sounds like I completely hate this movie right now. But again, like I said earlier, there are some really great scenes in here. All the scenes where like Rey and Kylo are like connected through the Force, those were really good. And like, you know, pretty much all the stuff on the island was pretty good. You know, it's mostly the rest of it that wasn't as good. And then like obviously the final scene between like Snoke and Rey and Kylo was really good, where Snoke dies. Spoiler alert. Again, I did say we're in spoiler territory now. That was really good. Really awesome, great scene. But like, once that scene is over and like the ship is destroyed and everything, at that point, I don't care anymore. And I'm like, can this movie just end now? It's pretty much my basic philosophy on that. I don't know if I used the right word there. But anyways, great. Oh yeah, one really cool thing I really liked is in the beginning, this was just, I don't know, this is just the kind of way I think when I see a movie. When I see like a quick little thing in a movie, like that's subtle or something, or like a little scene, I just really like, I just have to mention it. So like the beginning, when it first shows Kylo Ren, he goes in, he has his mask on from the last movie, he goes in to talk to Snoke, and Snoke is like basically bashing him like, yo, you got beat by a girl who has never held a lightsaber before, what is wrong with you? Which I kind of like that, because it's almost like taking a jab at the last movie, because like that's the thing a lot of people complained about. Now obviously there is an actual explanation for it in the movie of The Force Awakens, but people still complained about it because they're idiots. So that was kind of funny. But then like what I really liked was when Kylo Ren is there and he's like thinking about that, what the conversation he had with Snoke. He's like, he feels like he's my master and I failed him and everything, and he takes his mask, the Kylo Ren mask, and just like smashes it into the wall and like multiple times and destroys it. I really like that. Like, it shows that he's getting away from the Kylo Ren persona that he has created for himself. He's like, you know, he destroys the symbol of what Kylo Ren is, and he's like, you know, which a lot of that is, you know, it's supposed to mimic Darth Vader. He's like, I'm trying to be like Darth Vader, but now he's like, you know, maybe I'm not good enough for this, and like he's kind of rejecting the Kylo Ren persona that he's created for himself. That's something that I found really interesting. Liked that part there a lot. Again, everything with Rey, Kylo, and even Luke a little bit, except some of the Luke scenes got a little corny, like at the end when he comes to where the rebels are. That got really kind of dumb and corny. Now, his death scene was kind of cool, how they did the whole, like I said earlier, how they did the whole like two suns and the music from the original movie and everything. That was really like, really good. But I mean, a lot of that was just because of like nostalgia. Like, hey, I remember when he stared at the two suns in the original movie with that same music playing. That's a good way to have him die, because that's something that was in the original movie. And so it's more playing on your nostalgia, so it's kind of like not, but I don't know, it was still pretty good. I don't know, I almost want to say that I still like Han Solo's death better. I think Han Solo's death was still much more like impactful, at least for me anyways. Like, I remember when I first watched Force Awakens, again, I haven't done a review on Force Awakens yet. I will eventually, but you know, when I first watched it, like, the death of Han Solo was extremely impactful. I was just like, holy crap, Han Solo just died. Like, that scene was just with me ever since I left the movie. And I didn't feel that with, like, Luke's death. With Luke's death, it was kind of like a triumphant death, at least. It was like, you know, and then they're like, oh, then Leia and Rey are talking to each other and like, oh, we feel it. But it's not that, they felt that he was in peace when he died or whatever at the end. So it's like, okay, it's a nice, peaceful, triumphant death. Luke has come back from his old, grouchy old self or whatever, like, come back to what he was when he was younger. So like, it's kind of nice, I guess. But still, the extra climax, we had to have an entire extra climax in order to get that moment. So it's kind of like I feel like there were definitely other ways they could have handled that. If they wanted to have that moment with Luke, there's definitely other ways they could have handled it without adding an entire extra climax. Because that up to that point, that's literally the only reason I can think of to have that extra climax, is so you can add the stuff with Luke at the end. Other than that, there's no reason for an extra climax at all. It's just redundant. So, overall, there's my overall thoughts. I could talk for a while about a lot of other things. I don't know, there's a lot to talk about with this movie. I mean, it is a long movie, and I did see it twice, so I actually remember things from the movie more just because I saw it twice. Do I think it's better than Force Awakens? Not really. Like, I think Force Awakens is overall a better movie. I think, this movie has some really good moments in it that are almost better than some of the better moments in Force Awakens, but I think overall Force Awakens is a better, more coherent movie. This movie is kind of messy because of all the extra subplots and just there's 2 climaxes that are like a second climax comes out of nowhere and you're just like, really? I was kind of expecting it, the second climax though, because I saw the shots in the trailer of them like flying on this planet with like all this red dust flying everywhere, and I was like, wait, that was in the trailer. That hasn't happened in the movie yet. I'm like, how are they gonna do that in the movie? Like they're in space and everything. Well, how are they gonna do that battle in the movie? That doesn't make any sense. And then they're like, oh, they're gonna do it that way. Okay. I don't know. I feel like if they wanted to do that battle, maybe they could have done that at the beginning of the movie, like they're escaping from that planet. Possibly could have made it more interesting, and then include that like that battle's going on at the same time. At the same time, Poe is trying to take out the dreadnought or whatever. I don't know, because it just felt like randomly thrown in there. That's okay. There we go. That's all I have to say. I don't have a lot more. Well, technically, I probably could go on for a while. I've talked about this movie like constantly since I first saw it. I've been talking about it with other people. Other people are tired of talking about it because of me, but whatever. And I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt, obviously, because it's a Star Wars movie. But anyways, let me know in the comments what you think of the movie. Do you hate it? Do you love it? And I know there's going to be some people in both camps of hating it and loving it, because that's what this movie is. There are some people who absolutely love this movie. There are some people who absolutely hate this movie. I'm surprised. Like, this is probably the most dividing Star Wars movie out there, and like some of the other Star Wars movies are pretty divisive amongst fans. Force Awakens was one. A lot of people really didn't like it. A lot of people really did like it, but I think this one's even more divisive. I think the people who didn't like Force Awakens probably hate this even more. It's just, I don't know. You can't please everyone, I guess. I wasn't completely pleased. I did feel like there was a lot of extra stuff in the movie that wasn't needed. If they edited it down and maybe reworked a few things, could be a great movie, a great Star Wars movie, but ultimately, it was just a okay Star Wars movie. Anyways, that is about all. There are a couple things I didn't mention that I liked in the movie. Like, okay, let me just mention a couple things. I liked that Rey's parents were nobody. I thought that was a great way to do it. Because everybody's like, oh, Rey's parents are Luke and whatever. And I was like, well, do her parents have to be anybody? And then when they said that, I was like, yes, thank you. That's what I wanted, honestly. And then the fact that Snoke is just Snoke and he doesn't have to be a pre-existing character. Like, everybody's like, is Snoke Plagueis? Is Snoke Jar Jar Binks? Obviously that one wasn't going to be true, but you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, Snoke is just Snoke. He's just a guy who uses the dark side of the Force. That's all we need to know. He's not that important of a character, and a lot of people might complain about that, like we don't know Snoke's backstory, but think about this. Once the original trilogy came out, did we know Palpatine's backstory at all? No, we know nothing about him other than he's evil and he's the Emperor of the galaxy. And he can shoot lightning out of his fingers. So I'm not too disappointed by that. Some people might be though. And again, I like the scene where Rey goes down into like the thing under the island that has like the dark side. She sees like the mirror, and she asks who her parents are. It kind of is similar to the Luke scene where he like fights the fake Darth Vader or whatever, except it's different. I don't know. That was good. I've been talking too long, so there's not a lot much more that I really need to say about it. Other than, well, yeah, that's it. So let me know in the comments what you think of the movie. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's an okay movie, like in the middle, like I am, where I said 6 out of 10. Originally it was 5 out of 10. Now I say 6. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah, leave that in the comments. Also, big announcement coming. There's a big Christmas special video that I'm going to be doing on Christmas Day, uploading on Christmas Day. I'm not going to say what it is now. It's a surprise. I will be announcing it. I will have a video dedicated to me announcing that tomorrow, probably. So it'll just be me there like, hey, here's the announcement of what the big project is. So it'll probably be uploaded tomorrow. A big project. stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome. Been working on it for the past week. It's going to be great. But anyways, that's about all. So, thanks for watching. Goodbye.